Good morning and welcome to the 18th Annual MIT Sloan CIO Symposium and first digital edition. My name is Christopher Reichert. I am the treasurer of the MIT Sloan Boston Alumni Association and a member of the MIT Sloan CIO Symposium organizing committee, along with my colleagues Joanna Eldridge, Sean Brown, and Ray Chang. When we started this, our mission was to bring together thought leaders, academic thought leaders, and leading practitioners to discuss the challenges facing CIOs in their profession. I think it's an understatement to say that this last year has highlighted the unrelenting pace of change. And our mission remains the same here as we move into our digital edition of this event. And to further introduce our program, I'd like to take this moment to introduce the executive chair of this event, Allan Tate. Welcome, Allan.
Well, thank you, Christopher. And I want to thank you and also the entire organizing team for helping pull this together. This year's theme is the Big Reset. Digital enterprises shift into high gear. And as you mentioned, this is the first digital edition of the symposium. And for all of you watching, my thanks go out to you. You've joined our community and you're about to embark on a journey with us. While you're watching, if you tweet, be sure to use hashtag MIT CIO. You're also free to chat amongst yourselves in the Zoom app. But if you have a question, I encourage you to use Q&A, which you'll find at the bottom of your screen. And Christopher and I are going to introduce the 2021 program. But first, I'd like to introduce David Schmittlein. He is the John C. Head III Dean of the MIT Sloan School of Management. So please join me in welcoming David Schmittlein.
Thank you, Allan and Christopher. As Dean of the MIT Sloan School of Management, I'm delighted to welcome you to the 18th MIT Sloan CIO Symposium. The organizers have put together a great set of panelists and panels, and I know you'll enjoy them. You know that this symposium brings together CIOs, digital technology executives, and business leaders, together with each other and with MIT academics to offer insights and experiences. In light of the distinctiveness of MIT, it's important for us to have founded and to continue to support the impact of this symposium. It's just a fit with MIT. MIT Sloan's mission, distinctive as it is to develop principled, innovative leaders who improve the world. That's you. And so my challenge to you as participants in this symposium is to do something with what you learned, what you saw, what you thought here. It could be an approach, a paradigm, a tool. Use it to improve your workforce, to improve your customers and stakeholders, to improve the global economy, and together with MIT and with the rest of these participants to make a better world. It's possible. The insights exchanged in settings like this can do it. So please enjoy the symposium, and I return you now to the conference organizers.
How are you, Allan, on this beautiful spring morning?
Well, I am feeling pretty good, Christopher, and you are right. It is beautiful, and we're ready to go.
Well, it's when you joined, this is your second time as chair of the event, and I think it's fair to say that when you started, you had no idea that you would be pivoting from an in-person event, which we all miss dearly, down at MIT at the Kresge Auditorium and around the campus and in the swimming in the waters of MIT itself. How's that been? And let's talk about that journey for you.
Yeah, so I took over for my predecessor, Lindsay Anderson, in April of 2020. The in-person event had just been canceled. Now, We did, in fact, have the CIO Award, which was our first virtual event that we did last year during the pandemic. We wanted to provide something in 2020 to our audience. And so we created the Digital Learning Series, which was a series of webinars that went from June through October. We cut our teeth on doing virtual events, and I think we did pretty good. We gathered a lot of audience feedback, figured out what they liked and they didn't like. And well, somewhere in November, we made the decision that we could not risk going back to an in-person event for 2021. And so we made the commitment to create the first digital edition.
Yeah, I think we're on the cusp of, I guess, of some sense of normalcy in our normal lives and ability to gather with other people. And I know we all miss that. But some things I guess will so this year of the pandemic has obviously foisted a lot of change in business practices across industries, and obviously in how we've operated this event. And even though we're going to go back to normal in many ways, some things will never go back to normal, and that's maybe for the better. So I think how do you see the CIO Symposium evolving this year, and how do you view this year, and as you look forward to next year as well?
So this year we have tried to create a digital event, a digital version of the event, and we were very specific in our approach in that we didn't want to take the in-person event and just pull it into a virtual space. We wanted to rethink what it meant to have a symposium in a virtual space, because the virtual space is fundamentally different from in-person. We chose a platform called Mighty Networks. It is a community-based platform, and one of the things that I really like about it is that it is scalable, and it's going to allow us to grow. And it's going to be a platform that we can use when, in fact, we do go back to an in-person event. There is going to continue to be a component of an online presence. And in a way, I think that the Mighty Networks will replace the printed program, but also provide a powerful way for people to continue networking with each other and learning from each other after they meet in person on the MIT campus, hopefully in 2022.
Yeah, I think that's the holy grail. I mean, I think whenever we've talked about people, coming to this event or other, events, that one of the things that people always said is that they want to somehow keep the threads of the conversation that they've started there going after the event and ongoing. And so I'm excited about how this community, the opportunity for this community to grow. And then, we've given participants this year 2 years of complimentary membership in it to really seed the conversations and the communities.
Indeed, yes, absolutely. Everybody who comes to the 2021 symposium will be a member of the community at no charge for 2 years, and we'll see how this evolves.
One thing that hasn't changed though is one thing that hasn't changed, I want to say, is our Twitter handle, #MITCIO. That was before, that's now, that will be afterward as well. So if you're following this and listening, feel free to use that, or please use #MITCIO to have the conversation on Twitter as well.
Yes, that's correct.
So we want to walk through the community and show that to people. Do you want to do that now, or?
Yeah, let me provide a little bit of orientation, and then we'll do a demo.
That sounds good to me.
So first of all, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors. We have Equinix and Genpact as our diamond sponsors, Rimini Street as a platinum sponsor, Adobe and Strongbow as gold sponsors, and MIT Management Executive Education as a bronze sponsor. And so basically, we are in week one. This is where we've designed week one as a program introduction and orientation. We're trying to give people time to acclimate to the online world, to the online community. That's what this week is largely all about. As we move forward, we have a theme for every week, and you'll see this theme recurring in different contexts. So moving from the future of work, which I think is something that we really wanted to highlight, especially in the times of COVID. MIT has put out a very important report on the future of work, and we're going to have Elizabeth Reynolds come in and talk about that. We also tapped into the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence because people's jobs and role is changing. And so we're going to see Kathleen Kennedy come in with a group of people to talk about that. We move on to digital innovation, digitalization trends, innovation challenges. Then we get into enterprise leadership and strategy. We're going to have some of our CIO finalists participate in those panels. And of course, we're going to have the CIO award ceremony, which will be led by George Westerman. During the closing in town hall, we have a study that we worked on with Genpact. The results of that study are going to be presented for this audience. And I just think that really the overall programming for the week is going to be really exciting. And of course, you can read all the details about the agenda within the community.
So Tate, before you go on, go back to that last slide. Tell me, let's talk about week 4, digitalization trends. Tell me about what is that versus digital innovation?
Yeah, so digitalization trends is how people are really, there's a lot of people moving into the cloud. They're updating their processes. They're embracing the digitalization of data and learning how to take advantage of that data. And they're using AI, and all these things are coming together. And that's going to be the focus of that week.
Interesting. I'm seeing that word more, digitalization versus digitization.
Yes, it's a hard word. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So moving on to the Symposium Cadence. So one thing about the symposium is all the activities are going to start at 10:30. Monday is very lightweight. There's going to be a message from me about what's coming this week. The important thing to understand about a community framework versus a specific conference is that the agenda is evolving and growing as more people get involved in creating what we call booths or spaces. We have a few of them now. More are coming online. We're going to highlight that on Monday as to where you should visit, what roundtable discussions you can take part in. Tuesday and Wednesday will be the typical panel discussions. Those are the main stage of the symposium. Those will happen at 10:30. Thursday has something new. These are open discussions. So we will have, I will actually co-host these with one other person each week. You're co-hosting 1 week with me. Irving is co-hosting. Zoya is co-hosting others as well. This is where the audience will have a chance to get an oar in the water and give their thoughts on the weekly theme, on the panel discussions that happened on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then Friday will just be a question or poll for the audience to give them a chance to have some online conversations and reflect on the theme of the week.
That's excellent. So Monday sets it up for the week, gives us orients us for the theme and the topic, and then presentation of the formal presentation, if you will, but really a lot of opportunities for people to participate and engage with each other and go deeper into topics, not only with the one-on-ones later in the week, but also with themselves on the community. As I encourage people to join that. I see there's a good chat happening here in the community. I see we've got some people from Brazil and from California and a few other different places. So yeah, keep chatting in there, people.
Yeah, so I'm going to move on. And I just want to point out that there's also, in addition to the main stage of the symposium, there's a number of activities that are going to happen within the booths in the community. So We encourage people to visit the International Partners booth. They are organizing roundtable discussions for the afternoon and evening hours, where they are tying those roundtable discussions to the theme of the week. In week 2, next week, they have Data-Rich Cities, which is going to feature the Sensible Cities Lab from MIT, a couple of speakers from there. We'll have a roundtable on cybersecurity and a roundtable discussion with a startup company called Flow. The MIT Sloan Executive Education is having a roundtable, an open house every week on Thursdays at 12 o'clock. They're also having a drawing for a free prize. And of course, our own Sloan Boston Alumni Association has activities. And tonight at 6 o'clock, there's Women in Wine. So you can sign up for some of our selected alumni activities.
And I will say that Sloan Exec Ed free course would be quite a plum to get. I mean, the course is, I'm fortunate I'm in the Boston area, so I can participate sometimes in the independent activity period in January and February, and those are just wonderful ways to re-engage and stay engaged with the school. So take a bite of that one if you can.
Yeah. And then just to talk about the community. So this is a private community. It's by invitation only. The 2021 ticket includes 2 years of membership. You can access the community on your browser, but you can also access it on a mobile app. And I strongly encourage everyone to download the mobile app. It will really enhance your experience of the community in terms of connecting with each other. These panel discussions can be viewed directly on your mobile app. So, you have a lot of different options for viewing the content. Recordings will be posted in the community, right in the agenda for the symposium. And I would point out that on our webpage, mitcio.com, there's a new menu item, which you'll see on your screen. It's called Members, and that will get you to the community. So if you log out and don't remember what the URL is, you can go there and switch back. So, want to take a walk through the community, Christopher?
Have a look.
All right. So here we are. This is the home of the community. This is the main activity feed. And so people can post here their quick thoughts, or they can do an article. I will point out that they can add a topic. So currently there's introductions and help desk topics. We can add more topics as time goes on. But this is, now, when you are in the main room, the feed is customized for you. It basically reflects the things that are either posted in the main room or other spaces where you've expressed an interest. And one of the things that I want to point out is that when you look down at the bottom, there is a breadcrumb which shows you basically where that piece of content was posted. And you can follow that breadcrumb. In this case, I'm following Sadie's post into the newsroom. And the newsroom shows all the things that are posted about the symposium. Our PR group, Warner Communications, posts most of the material there. Our program manager, Tina, also posts some material there. And the newsroom is what's known as a topic. So topics are a way of tagging content. You'll see that we have a help desk, which we monitor. So if you have a question, you can put it there. You can also go to introductions and get an idea of what people said when they joined the community. There's an article for every different sponsor, which you can access in the newsroom is where we were. Now, you'll notice that everyone also has a profile. This is a profile of Nick Fury. You can see that Nick...
Well, he looks a little furry to me.
he's a stressed out guy. He's busy. He is busy, and he is handling a crisis all the time. And we get that. And we're trying to create this community for this kind of stressed out person. So one of the things I want to point out to you is that, you are in control of your notifications, right? You can get notifications by email or not. You can also get them on the mobile app if you download it. You can choose a daily digest. And
hey, Allan, just we had a question about the app. Just want to make sure everyone's clear. You are downloading the Mighty Networks app on the Android or Apple store.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, you're downloading the Mighty Networks app, and then you can choose the communities that you want to access in the app, and you would choose our community.
Yep.
So there's very fine-grained control of the notifications here. I've turned them off in part because I don't want to get the bell ringing more often than necessary while we're doing the demonstration. You'll also notice that below your main feed is this discovery section. So in the discovery section, you'll find welcome articles. Which has sponsorship opportunities. The welcome article gives you instructions about how to make use of the community. And then there's also our community guidelines. The featured section has an article about each of our sponsors. We have 2 programs in the community right now, the 2021 Symposium, and also a program which is the 2020 Symposium and Digital Learning Series, a place you can go to watch all of the videos from that.
That's great. It's a great centralized location. Yeah.
You also have all the booths. Now, right now there are 3, but more booths are going to be coming. And that's an easy place to access them. You also have the topics, which I showed you before. And then you can also see that you can view people who are in your same industry, and you can view people who are near you within the discovery section.
I recognize some of those faces there. Right next to you.
If you go to members, you can sort through members in different ways. I'm just going to show you that you can sort and see the hosts, and you and I, Christopher, are at the top. I'll point out that we both have a frame on our picture that says "here to help" or "happy to help" or something similar. So that is to invite people to ask questions of us. If they don't get their question answered within the help desk, they can find us directly as hosts. I'm going to go back to discovery for a moment and just bring up the welcome letter. I think it's important to understand that we are creating this community together. So this community is not like coming in the Disney world where, you just get on the rides and that's it. This is actually a place where all of us will be going on this journey together, and we're inviting you to do that. This welcome letter outlines our purpose, tells you different things that you need to do up front, answers some common questions about where recordings are going to go, tries to help you get oriented to the concept of being in a virtual community, reminds you of where the tags are, which I just went over, gives you some instructions about setting up your profile and making posts, tells you where to get help, tells you how we are tagged, and reviews community guidelines and next steps to get involved with the symposium. I also want to point out that if you go to welcome, you can find our hosts and moderators here. You'll also find that the welcome posts, which eventually will disappear from your activity feed, but they always will appear here. And also, this is yet another place to download your phone number and get the app. So now let's look at events. You know, this poor guy, Nick, imagine years ago that he joined Facebook for the first time. And he didn't have any friends and he hadn't joined any groups. He'd have a very empty feed. And that's the way it is here. But we're going to take care of that. We're going to help Nick begin to participate in the community. So before we do that, let me just point out another tab called Industries. So you can find here all the different types of industries that people are part of. And so, for example, in IT consulting, you can go through and see all the people who might be in the same industry as you and find out about them here.
It's kind of like the birds of a feather tables at lunchtime, right?
Birds of a feather tables. And I will also point out down at the bottom, you'll see visit help desk. I showed you help desk is actually just a topic where you can point your questions, but if you don't remember how to get there, you can just go directly to the help desk. And now let's look at programs. So the key point to understand is this is the community, but the symposium is a separate space. It is, in fact, a program. And so Nick is going to start this program and he's going to enter a new space. And when we enter a new space, there's new branding and he lands here on the agenda. And as he looks through the overview, he can expand his screen and he can see the overall agenda summary. He can then move forward to the presentation that we're in now. Now you'll notice that this April 7th orientation has a still picture here. This is going to be replaced with the video. So as we record, video will replace the still picture and the agenda will become a document about everything that we have done as we go through the program. And if you want to see
go back and review at any time you want.
You can go back and review at any time. If you want to see what that looks like, you can go and look at 2020, which is another program that Sylvia very graciously prepared all of those videos and that whole content for us. You can then move forward into the future of work. And what I've tried to do here is to give you a little bit of an idea of what we were inspired about. So, you can go and look at the Future of Work Task Force. You can check on the actual report. You can navigate to the Center for Collective Intelligence and get a little background on the speakers that are going to be talking, that week. And so, like with the main room, the symposium itself also has an activity feed. And in this activity feed, we have a topic for every single week. So for digitalization trends, your favorite, you can post your ideas about that or future work or other things directly within this activity feed. Also, there is a welcome letter for the symposium itself, which also goes over a summary of what it's about, reviews some of the things that we've talked about in this slide, gives you next steps of things that you can do to kind of move forward and participate in the symposium. The About section provides you with information about the moderators. Now you'll notice the moderators for this section is myself and Sylvia. It's not the same as the main room. We have a lot more hosts in the overall community, but this is the moderators for the symposium itself. You get an overview of the agenda from About, and you can jump directly into the agenda without any problem. Like with the community, the welcome letter and the community rules are going to be there all the time. And guess what? If you haven't gotten that mobile app, you have another chance here to enter your phone number and get it. Now, of course, everybody wants to sign up for events. Well, you can go to events, and one of them is live right now. But maybe Nick wants to go to episode 1 next week. And here we are building jobs in the age of intelligent machines. And we're going to go to that. And I'll point out, too, that if you RSVP, the system's going to remind you to attend the event. This is where you come to attend, because you just click on that link to join. You can also add it to your own calendar. This works with many different types of calendar, so that shouldn't be a problem. You can see we have 58 people going, and that is events. As I mentioned, we have a topic for every week, right? And so as people post to these topics, they will show up. You can leave your thoughts about the actual events themselves within the topics. They're already in here. And that is a nickel tour, the symposium. Any questions there, Christopher, before I move to booths?
Well, I was going to say that one of the things was I wanted to, that's excellent, and it's a good orientation for how to find things on the site. Yeah, let's talk about how people engage with each other and have conversations.
Yeah, and actually, I just thought of something before we go there. I just point out that you can expand the calendar, and you can get an overview of each month and see what's going on from a calendar view as well. But let's go back to the main room. So here we are in the main room. Now we're going to come to booths. And as I said, we have more booths coming on all the time. We'll first visit the International Partners booth. Well, the International Partners booth, like every other space within the community, has a welcome section where they welcome you to the booth. You will see that they have events going on. This is the event happening next week. And I tell you, I know this guy, Nick, is fictitious Nick, is going to want to go. So we're going to join the community, and we're going to go to that event. I'm not going to review the left-hand sidebar because it's very similar to what you saw in the 2021 symposium. But I'm going to go back to the network and take a look at MIT Sloan Executive Education and come in here and see that they, in fact, have an open house every week on Thursday. And you can learn more about executive education. You can also discover that hey, you know what? You can win that free course by visiting executive education, and you can come back to another space and visit the Sloan Boston Alumni Association. And this is one that, well, I'm not going to sign up for, but actually I have found out that anybody is welcome to the Women in Wine. It is happening today at 6. You can sign up. And coming back to the network, now we can see that poor Nick, his activity feed is becoming full because all that information from the spaces that he's decided to join is now going to get aggregated into his view. And
that's great that it's all centralized. So
he's a happy camper now. He is a happy camper.
We can change his name to Nick Happy, maybe.
We could. Yeah. Nick Happy.
Nick Less Furious.
Yeah, so that's the nickel tour. I can answer any questions, Christopher, or
do you so when if I want to reach out to and have a chat with you, talk about how we would reach out to individual members and engage with the conversation.
Yeah, so you would open up your chat and I would put an @ sign and here you are. And now I can, I can say hello. Now, normally I might provide a little bit more context. Just saying hello is the person's not going to know what you're talking about. But
so what happened for me, just so people know, is that because I have the website open, it just popped up on the right-hand side saying, from Nick Fury, hi, Christopher. So I can engage directly with you and continue the discussion.
Well, what would you say to Nick, Christopher?
I just knew you were going to say that. Let me click OK, because I was editing my profile in the middle of doing that. So let me go over here, click OK, get rid of that. Pop over to the thing and say, where are you here? Come up on your end?
It did indeed. It's up on the screen, and I'm going to say that yes, I am. All right. Well, I think people get the idea of this individual thing. I will point out that we could experiment with what they call a chat event if we get ambitious, but we don't currently have one planned. But if people like to do chat events, let us know and we'll experiment with that.
So what is a chat event? So
a chat event is where we invite people into a collective space. It's kind of like when people have they've experimented with chat events on Twitter, but it's the same type of thing within this space. It has pros and cons. I mean, it's very difficult to have any type of moderated discussion. So people tend to, there's a lot of talking over one another. They're good for certain types of things like having, open office hours. There's certain applications where they work. Wasn't clear.
So I guess an equivalent might be a WhatsApp chat group, right?
Yeah.
WhatsApp.
Yes.
Just an open-ended conversation amongst a bunch of people. Correct.
There are a lot of options that we can experiment with. I think that I bring it up to say that, if I just go back to the welcome letter, the spirit of the community is that we are building this together, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not coming in to a community where it's like other conferences where everything is set up, you just participate. We're really looking for active ideas, active participation. The symposium itself is pretty tried and true. We have the panel discussions that everybody has come to know and love that will continue to be there in 2022 when we go back on campus. But the community itself is bespoke, it's experimental, and we want participation.
So with a couple of questions here, where does someone sign up for these Sensible City Lab? Can you just walk through that again?
Yeah, so you would go back to the International Partners booth and go to their events and click on it and RSVP. So let me say that each booth is an independent space, and each booth has its own leader and style. And so you'll see that each group is doing their own thing. Let me give you an analogy. The symposium is in a virtual format is like visiting a resort. Now, I don't know how many people are skiers, but let me use the example of Stowe. So the symposium is like the mountain. The trails are the main panel discussions that you have during the day. And then when you're done skiing, you take your skis off, you go into town, and the booths become the restaurants and shops that you might visit after skiing. And there's other activities, and each one has its own personality, its own menu, its own style. And so we are actually right now bringing together booth owners to begin to establish norms for booths and being good community members. And that actually is pretty exciting.
So another question we've got in here is people are seeing different menu options on the left-hand side. What do they do if they're not seeing things like booths or industries or whatnot? Is there anything that they need to do at their end?
Yes, if they are not seeing booths or industries on their end, take a screenshot and send it to me and we'll diagnose that. I don't have an answer off the top of my head, but we'll definitely look into that.
Okay. I don't know if they need to be a certain type of member or have set a setting in their profile to see that, but yeah, I'd be interested to see that. So where would they send that, by the way? Just so info at MIT.
So, well, what I would suggest is take a screenshot and go to the help desk, and they can post their image right here, right? Just add it to the help desk, and I will see it. I monitor help desk. I have other people that monitor the help desk. That way, if we find an answer, other people can also find the answer here. That would be the best. But, you can also, attach it and send it to me via email.
Perfect.
If you want to be, if you love email.
Don't we all, right?
Oh, yeah. My
So
favorite.
go back to the home screen for a minute on it so we can kind of start. So this, what about the pre-login one? So, or you don't see that once you've logged in, right?
I don't see it because I've logged in. When you go to the MIT CIO website and click members, it will navigate you to the Mighty Networks landing page and you will see a sign in. So if you have existing credentials, then you will be able to sign in. Mm-hmm. If you don't have existing credentials, then you need to join, and you will have received an invitation to join from Mighty Networks. In addition, on Monday, I sent an email to everyone who had registered via Eventbrite and gave them a join link from my personal Gmail account to make sure that everybody had a clear path to joining. But basically, if you register through Eventbrite, we have you on record, and you should have gotten a join link. I would say that if you believe you don't have an invitation to join, to reach out to us at info@mitcio.com, and we will rectify the situation as quickly as we can.
So is it fair to say that if you're on this Zoom call, you probably have gotten past that hurdle, or would you think that there would be some people here who still need to actually actively join the community?
Everyone who's on the call has successfully joined, because the access to the webinars, the access to the recordings is from within this private community. There is no back door to these panel discussions.
Yeah, and I would say that the experience will be for each attendee will be heightened by joining and participating in the community. I think the conversations that can happen that we're seeing now on the Zoom chat can continue and extend in the community and have other people join and participate.
So we hope so. we hope people participate in the community. We want to hear people's ideas. We want to hear your stories about, how has the pandemic impacted your enterprise? What have you done to cope? These are all important. And I think that so the community, let me just say, there are community guidelines.
Yep.
This is a community of very busy people. And we want conversations about leadership and technology that are relevant to the purpose of the symposium. Other types of conversations are fine, but we prefer that you have them on Twitter or whatever your preferred social media is. But here, I think we're looking for thoughtful conversations where we do have sponsor booths, but we do ask that we not solicit people or advertise or otherwise, make this an unpleasant experience. We're trying to make this a place where people feel safe to have a voice, to reach out and connect with other people, and not feel like they're going to be inundated with a sales pitch or pressured or bullied or harassed or any of that.
Right, that's in the spirit of the symposium, which is to bring together thought leaders, practitioners, academics to help people meet the challenges of their profession.
Exactly. And when you come to the in-person event, I think that people they come in their good suit, or they dress up, they embrace the spirit, and it's hard to capture that in a virtual environment. But that's we're looking for that that high level of positive interaction, generous interaction. That's what we're striving for.
Maybe now's the time to invest in a dry cleaner, because we're all going to have to dust off our formal clothes, which have been hanging in the closet as we've been living a Zoom life, right?
Well, it's important to support your local dry cleaner, Christopher.
There you go. So we have a question here about expanding the industries tab. How does it expand? How does the community expand on topics and verticals, if you will?
Yeah. So the industries tab. I believe you can enter your own industry, although I'm not positive about that. If you don't see the industry that you are in and you can't enter it by hand, just put it in the help desk. We will get new industries added. As far as topics, I think I can set up a space for suggestions, and we can add new topics. We are trying to, in the beginning at least, keep the topics fairly organized and focused. And so we have a dedicated set of moderators and hosts who are adding topics, although we do have everybody participating and adding them. But we'll add a suggestion topic for now and see how this evolves. Again, I would emphasize that the structure here is evolving, and I think as people get more involved, we're going to have to get more groups. Like, so for example, the booths, we are just now taking all of the leaders of different spaces and pulling them together to have conversations with each other. What's really interesting about it is that everybody's excited to do this because they've been working in the environment now. They see the potential. But they also realize there are scalability problems. So for example, with advertising your booth, we have to balance too much would be spam, but too little means nobody visits. So, what's the norm? We don't want to inundate people with notifications all the time. So that's why I'm starting off with a message on Monday. But I may add to that. I'm just trying to be respectful of people's time.
So, just from the chat screen, one suggestion. Some people are having difficulty getting the SMS message or getting a link to the app. Maybe we can distribute that in some way, a link to the Android version or the iOS version separately. So I see that in there. Also, I think a feature request that we got was to be able to assign yourself to multiple industries. So you can be in IT consulting in healthcare versus just healthcare. So those are great suggestions. I do see that one of our participants, David, says you can select multiple. You can through comma separated. You can search for multiple industries in there. So great, some great feedback coming from the chat screen here.
Well, there we go. We're learning together.
There you go. Exactly. So looking at the time here, let's look at what's coming up in the programs.
All right. So next week, we have episode 1 about the future of work. Irving Vladowski-Berger and Liz Reynolds are going to be talking. Liz was on the MIT task force on the future of work, and she's going to be talking about the report that just came out. I think this is going to be a fireside chat format to lead off our panel discussions, and so I'm pretty excited about this. On Wednesday, we have Kathleen Kennedy who is the executive director for the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence. When we were planning the future of work, we were really thinking that, this whole emergence of AI and how people are going to interact with AI was going to be really important. There was a colleague of Kathleen's, Tom Malone, who wrote the book Superminds, which I haven't read yet, but I will. And it really talks about collective intelligence. Working with Kathleen, we've assembled these other people, Craig Macarith, Johnny Gemelli, and Pedro Monio. And I apologize if I got the pronunciations incorrect, but we're talking about AI in uncertain times, and I think it's going to be an excellent discussion. And then on Thursday, I will be doing my first open discussion with my friend, Irving Vladowski-Berger. He is also the person who will be moderating the interview on Tuesday. And so I think he'll have a great perspective for that open discussion. I want to emphasize the open discussions are not Zoom webinars, they're Zoom meetings. And so we are going to have a lot of people. We have not done it this way before. So this is the first one. I ask for your patience, but the basic format is that people will come on. If they have a comment or a question, they can use Zoom to raise their hand. Irving and I will unmute you for a short period so that you can tell us what your impressions of the panel discussions or the future of work, or ask a question. We'll do our best to respond and then move on to the next person. I think that one of the things about this format is, we will have to go person to person because, it's impossible to have a totally interactive format in the virtual world, but it does mean that we need to keep the conversation flowing in order to get as many people as possible to participate. I don't know if we're going to be able to accommodate every person who has a comment, but we will do our best. And that's it for next week. And then the rest of the agenda is there.
I think it's that really shows you the kind of cadence of a given week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with various surrounding a particular topic. And if you in the members community, if you go to the events, you can add those to your calendar, so you're reminded through your calendar of choice to join the video events, but also participate in the community. So we strongly encourage that, because this is really about us and you all sharing your insights, as well as hearing from academic and thought leaders. So.
Yeah, and I would just emphasize that in order to join the event, you do have to be logged into the community. That is not difficult, and you can stay logged in, and certainly on the mobile app, and we'll get that issue resolved. It's like any other social media app where once you're logged in, you're kind of logged in permanently. And that's a good way. I actually have viewed some events when we were testing this platform on the mobile app. I think you remember, Christopher, we had one of our board meetings, and I was down at Giro Studio in Cambridge. Giro is our production studio, and I arrived early and connected to the board meeting on my tablet before going in and visiting Giro and Felicia. It works great.
Yeah, and I think exactly right with the various ways of getting through, whether on a desktop or on a mobile, you can really stay connected wherever you are. So is there anything else you wanted to cover today before we thank everyone for joining us?
Well, the only thing that I would say is that we're excited to have everyone here. We want this to be a good program for you. We are listening. We try our best. We do make mistakes, but work with us, join us. Let's evolve this, and let's have some fun while we do it.
Yeah, so thank you. On behalf of the MIT Sloan Boston Alumni Association, Allan, for your excellent hard work and the team that's put this all together and will continue to be involved throughout this, as well as our sponsors, our diamond sponsors, Equinix, Genpact, and our platinum Rimini Street. Gold sponsors Adobe and Strongbow Consulting Group, as well as the MIT management, the executive education at MIT Sloan. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you in the community as well as in the coming weeks as we roll out the program.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.